Hello and welcome to Live Code Happy Hour for June 18th, 2020. I'm here today with my coworker Brad, who will introduce himself now.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Brad Tilton. I'm a developer advocate with the Developer Program here at ServiceNow. I have been with ServiceNow for a little under 4 years, but I've been in the ServiceNow space doing development work for about the last 12.
All right. Thank you, Brad. I'm Andrew Barnes, developer advocate at ServiceNow as well. And I've been on the platform for over 5 years now at ServiceNow for coming up on 2 years in this role and focus on custom integrations, development at scale, so managing development teams and their work efforts, and custom applications. I left out my ordering there, threw me all off. And for us, so we're at this special time to because we wanted to move the show off of the 19th, and so we're here super early for us, and our beverages of choice are likely going to be water. What is your beverage of choice this fine morning, sir? Do you have some coffee or something?
Oh, I have some coffee out of my ServiceNow, my old ServiceNow mug.
Oh,
Some locally
classic.
roasted coffee. It's the same stuff that I drink every morning for, I don't know, the past 3 years. So,
I have some fine water in a Great Lakes Brewing,
ooh,
but because I don't drink coffee. Oh my goodness. So today, we don't have. So sometimes the show is particularly in depth. We're doing integrations. So the barrier for entry is sometimes rather high. Today, we're going to keep that barrier for entry lower. So, Brad, I know we're going to work on creating a workspace for our custom app. Can you give us a little bit more detail about what we're trying to do and why we're trying to do it?
yeah. So we have an app that we call Artifact Manager, where we manage basically all of our content for the developer program, and then our extended developer program team. So anytime we're going to post a blog or a YouTube video or do a live code, even some events, we put them into Artifact Manager, and it helps us, manage our artifacts and know when we're going to publish things. There's some automation that happens where we automatically push things to YouTube and we automatically create things for our blog. And we've actually done some of that on previous shows. But what we want to do today is we thought it might be a good idea to create a workspace for our Artifact Manager because we do, we have a lot of different artifacts and different types of artifacts. And it would be nice to have a UI where we can manage those a little better and have more than one open at a time. And using the tabbing and everything, I think it'll make our experience a little better. And then also we just wanted to get into Workspace a little more, and not being someone who is actively using ITSM or CSM. or setting that up for people. We don't have as much exposure to Workspace as somebody like that might. So we wanted to take a shot at getting it set up for our app, and then doing some configuration, based on how long it takes us to get it set up initially.
Yeah, and then that opens up the addition and inclusion of components that we can. So, since the only things we build on this show are things that will, are real for us. So we only do real use cases for us. We don't create fake scenarios and then try and solve them. So adding workspace in will add a place for us to have a demand for us for building components, those custom components. So that'll really open up that area for us more, to be more flexible in bringing components into our instance and leveraging them, and having that demand gen for them, so that we're inspired to actually build them, because I like to be inspired by real use cases, not abstractions when we're building on the show here. So that sounds great. Let's drop into it.
All right, I will go ahead and share my screen here. Uh, I think you have to let me share my screen.
Uh, I shall do so then, sir. There you are.
Let's try. Oh, that'll do it. All right. So notifications are off. All right. So what we're looking at here is the doc site, which if I'm going to do something, this is usually where I start if I'm not sure how to do that thing. Um, we need to create a new workspace for our app, and it looks like the way that we're going to need to do that is through Guided App Creator. So what we'll do is we'll create a new app through Guided App Creator, and that app will basically be just a UI layer for our Artifact Manager app. So before we get into that, let's take a look at Artifact Manager. I think this should be okay.
And to point out, we did have and do have some dashboards for Artifact Manager. And this is just taking that idea of dashboarding to that next level, right? So dashboards are a good jumping off point, but they're not a good working from part. Um, Whereas the workspace is designed to be the place you work.
Yeah, that's a great point. So, we can visualize this data. So I think we have a good dashboard, content dashboard. It's called dashboard, of course. So we have a good content dashboard where we do have a lot of data kind of in one spot here, which is nice. But it still doesn't let me, if I want to jump into some of these blog posts or live streams, it doesn't really let me do that. And I can click in here and then click through them. We also have some issues with we schedule things and then they fall off, or we have duplicates, and it's sometimes hard to figure out which one the duplicate is. So I think that can be managed a little better. So let's go ahead and you have anything else you want to say about Artifact Manager?
No.
All right, well, let's go ahead and create a new app. So we're going to set up our new app. We're going to have our fun scope name, I think.
Ooh, a fun scope name. It's Brad. What's the best scope name?
And since I am just incredibly creative, we're going to call this Artifact Manager Workspace.
It doesn't really need a description at that point.
That's right. What's our scope name for artifact manager? It is artifact mgr. Hmm,
Yeah, why don't
might
you do
be-
like RD and then underscore workspace or something like that.
That'll work. Oh, so close. Let's go.
Yeah.
No,
Hey, nice.
works.
Space.
There we go. All right. I'm not going to give it a logo, although we could. Okay. So
there are some artifact manager roles, but I don't know that we need to leverage them here.
yeah. Do we have to give it a role? Nope. All right. So we'll give it a workspace. We're thinking.
Which data tables do you want to use? All the data tables. Probably going to be some artifact.
Yeah. All
Oh.
right. So I think we definitely want to use the artifact table.
Yeah, that seems
You
useful.
think there's another table that we might want to use?
What else do we need? Do you want to? We don't have that here, but so we can add tables later. But I think what we want to do is possibly include our meetup tables as well, which I'm not sure are correctly in this instance, but they're going to be.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So the nice thing,
we'll add those later.
Yeah. The nice thing about adding tables here is I believe it's going to create us some stuff in the workspace automatically for these tables that we add. But yeah, I like the meetup idea.
See if they're in there.
You're right.
I'm not sure if they are or not. I think we loaded it.
I don't think that app's called Meetup. It's something else. Meetup. Well,
let's see.
Oh no. I backspaced too many times here and got rid of.
Get signed in.
Our artifact table. So again, not a huge deal. We can add tables later.
And no, it is not loaded. So
all right, I'm going to say we're done with those tables.
Okay. And now we actually start configuring the workspace itself. Yeah. So all that previous stuff was configuring the application, the scoped applications information.
All right. So we can change, excuse me, we can change the URL for our workspace. I'm going to change it because I don't like that.
Yeah, I'm completely on board with that.
Match our scope, or we could go, what would we just say?
Artifact
manager. Oh, artifact is even better.
Yeah.
Roles. Sure. Do we have an artifact manager?
Well, and this is one of those cases where you do have to choose the role. Like it won't let you proceed without choosing the role. So
let's call it user.
The user role. That seems fine. Yeah. So until we picked a role, that continue button
that's right.
was obscured.
Oh, Chuck pointed out a typo.
Oh.
See, he's not live with us, but he's still
here doing his best to keep our typos down. I love it.
Thanks,
Thank you, Chuck.
All right, let's continue. All right.
um, I Why does the tabbed one look like it only has a single page, but the single page one looks like it has tabs?
Yeah, so let's look at our little
I
enables
want tabbed,
users.
but the
Yes. Yeah,
image there
let's
seems to be a little misleading.
I think these are breadcrumbs.
Okay, because from the
Yeah.
resolution that I'm seeing them at from your screen, they kind of look like those are other tabs.
Yeah, there's this little the little carrot here
Yeah, I can't see
in
that
between
carrot.
them. Yeah.
Um, we definitely
Yeah, I
want
think we want this
tabs.
one.
That image really could benefit from having some tabs on it, though.
Yes. Yeah, there's only one tab here. So I
But
think this is the one where if I start clicking on multiple things, it's going to basically, is it going to give me kind of tabs of those, but give me my breadcrumbs so I know where my context is? I think is what it's telling me here.
yeah, I don't want single page. I want
Yeah,
tabbed.
very good. Now choose our utilities. Ooh. So these are the utilities across the top. So
Yep.
user preferences, notifications, search. I think we probably want all these.
I'm down with it.
I don't think there's a compelling reason why not. And then I think we get to choose the stuff on the left.
Yep.
So we have home
And
and then our
lists.
lists, which
And
sure.
here's where you can add in more tables. So this is what that tables thing does is it
Hmm.
adds tables here. So that picker earlier dropped things here. So you can add more of them here. This is also configurable afterwards.
Yeah.
So some things in Guided App Creator are only configurable during Guided App Creator, and some things are configurable later as well. And the lists that are available in your list is configurable later. I don't know that we need inbox because we're not really doing interactions or anything like that. So I don't know what the inbox would
That's
be giving
true.
us.
Let's see. Incoming work items such as chats, cases, and incidents. Yeah, we're not going to be. We do have our artifacts are assigned to people, but I don't think normally you are assigning something to yourself. Like I'm not going to assign Andrew a blog, so I don't think we need that.
Yeah.
Nice.
And Patio asked, interactions for custom apps. You can definitely have interactions for custom apps. In our case, we're not doing so. Our artifacts aren't interactions, and so it doesn't make sense for our use case because um, they're they're uh, they're records for us to manage you things that we build and create and deploy, like these live streams. Each of these is an artifact. Each blog we write is an artifact, things like that. But there's no uh, interaction between us and a customer for those use cases. So the interaction table isn't helpful for that for us.
Yeah. Shall we open the workspace?
Let's open the
I think we're
workspace.
going to.
So
Oh,
this
we
is
have our.
handy because it allows you to look at the workspace before you've exited Guided App Creator, which is really nice. It's thinking about it.
Our loading. Our instance hadn't had its coffee yet.
Yeah, it's not used to us, giving it a hard time this early in the morning.
All right, so this is our landing page, which at some point will have some custom components on it, I'm sure. This is one of the places that you can put custom components if you have built them. So let's look at our lists. And it went ahead and gave us a default list here for all of our artifacts.
which we're definitely going to adjust.
Yes. And then we have my lists. So yeah, this is basically all we have at this point, because this is the only table we told it. One of the nice things is if you create a workspace and include a table that's extended from task, it'll actually give you a number of workspace modules here based on the state field on task. But ours is not.
Ours is not. All right. So while we do need to add some more lists, um, I, I am certain that we can configure that later. Um, but we could go in back into the workspace configuration and start adding those now if we wanted. But I think we're done with guided app creator. This
I agree.
basically is what I wanted.
Where did it go? Here it is. Let's say done.
And
All
the
right.
crowd goes wild. And since we didn't do anything else, then that completes the creation of that scoped application, which was really just to create us this workspace. So now we need to add in certainly our classes of artifacts and then some state things as well to help us manage that.
Yeah, let's look back at Artifact Manager in the platform view, and we can kind of see what we have here. So we're not going to add all of these modules on the show, but probably at least add a couple.
Mhm. and
Um,
and that is your favorited list, which is a good thing to start from. Because
yeah,
we have ones that uh, are for everybody, but your favorited ones are clearly ones that you care about more, and so those are the ones that we're going to want to add to our workspace first.
yes. And I think I just favorited the entire application. So that should be
Well,
most of them.
that's just cheating then.
They're all my favorite.
They're
It's
all your favorite,
like my kids.
like your kids. That's funny.
At least that's what we tell them, right? So we've got categories. All right. So how do we think we,
So I believe that you go to workspace configuration.
administration, or is it in workspace?
Yeah, it's under workspace here, and then it's
How about in a specific workspace? Maybe there's something.
and there's
All
that
right.
one.
We could look at the docs, but where's the fun
Yeah,
in that?
that's not
Aha. Here it is. Workspace lists.
lists. Look at
That
that.
is what we were looking. So let's look at the existing list, and then we can do an insert and stay, I hope. All right. So we've got our name, ordering. These things are familiar. Category. What do we think category? Artifacts.
So
Oh,
category
yeah.
would be that top, yeah, like right there. And would you mind giving us
Yeah,
at least one zoom in?
I can give a zoom in. Move screen share. What was that?
Now that we're actually looking at some detail of things.
All
So
right.
yeah, the categories are kind of like application menus,
Mm-hmm.
and then the records are the modules, are the rough equivalents, right?
Yeah. So we've got
Well, one, we're definitely
all
going to
columns.
be like trimming that down because we don't need all columns.
Yeah. So let's go. I'm gonna make.
So we can. You want to edit this columns thing, or
Yeah, I want to find what columns we're using right now.
ah?
So let's come in here and reset my columns. That's a lot of
I in
columns.
fact would have not reset your columns and seen which ones you cared about.
Well, I probably have added some random stuff when I was troubleshooting something. Yeah, I actually let's just do it
Yeah, let's just do
from
it from the
scratch here,
list.
because that's not a great number of columns either. So all
Well, and
workspaces,
they seem to be doubled up too, which is very
yeah.
funny.
So we've got our artifact manager workspace. Then let's click in here. Tommy does remind us in chat that we're going to have to create a view for our table for workspace, which I think is accurate.
I thought that it
Or did that
created
get
it for
fixed?
you. I thought it created it for you. Go
It's
click on one
supposed
of those
to.
records
It's supposed
in
to, but I
Workspace,
think,
in
yeah,
your Workspace tab. Yeah.
I think we're going to get a little message. Yeah. Nope.
No.
Did it create one for us?
Well, that looks right. So
It used to give you, what was that little message that went away? It used to
that
give
was
you a message saying there's no workspace view, and you had to go in and create one. But we'll let's stick with the list, and we'll get to that
yep.
when we get to it.
Yep.
All right. So right now we have all of our columns.
Okay.
So I want to
So
start from scratch.
yeah. So I want
You want
the
title, right? Title.
title assigned to the abstract, the description, and the state,
How about the
the
class?
class. Absolutely, the class is going to be needed. And usually after that, I get into things like the planned publish date and the publish date.
Yeah, I think those are good. So we want to stay away from specific stuff probably on this all.
And that's about it. Um, the draft or published URLs are occasionally useful to just see whether or not they're there or not. But I care more about those when I'm in a particular class.
Yeah, that's a good point. If I'm looking at a blog or a live stream, I want to know what the YouTube URL is, or yeah. All right. I think this all looks good.
So can you change the orderings though? Because I
Yeah.
didn't put them in the order that I wanted them necessarily.
So
So I think class goes to the top. Assigned to can you put the state next to the assigned to? And then that seems fun.
I usually can't tell until I look at it. I'm
Yeah.
like,
And
oh,
then we
that
look at
looks
it
terrible.
and then we make adjustments. We're agile over here. Iterative.
All right, let's
Deliver
refresh
it,
this guy.
look at it, deliver it, look at it.
Oh, do we want type instead of class?
Oh yes. Clearly,
Yeah.
apparently we want.
That's right, because these are all the same table. We just have a type field on the table that
Yeah.
denotes what kind of artifact it is.
It's a pseudo kind of classic.
All right, and if I use the list refresh, do we get new columns? Nope.
I wouldn't have expected it. Type.
There we go.
Nice.
And then I want to order this because this doesn't look like a great order.
What do you want to order them by?
I think planned
Published?
publish date.
All right. I'm down with that.
Nope. There we go.
That's sweet.
All right.
We're doing all this, and I'm gonna laugh because the number of times I actually ever click the all is never.
Me too.
I don't ever click all because they only make sense in their groupings of types.
What's another one that we don't click on? Let's do that. No. So let's do, let's add one for blog posts.
Absolutely.
And then I think we can probably be done with lists.
Yep.
So I'm not going to create one from scratch. There will be if there's not now.
Now that's the most developer answer. There will be one. we will divert and make one right now if there isn't.
So I had set all at 1,000 because I wanted it to show up later. So we're going to do 100. We have our same columns here. Do we want to add filter? Yeah, let's add. So type is blog post. And then ordering is right.
The things we need differently for blog posts is I like to see the views for blog posts.
That's a good idea.
And what else do I need for blog posts? The published URL and the draft URL.
Yeah.
And typically, I'll want to look at one of the, well, I'm going to leave them off until we actually start using them again. I used to use the 2 prioritization fields we have, but I've not been using them. So let's leave them off.
I was wondering what those were there for. So I'm not going to hit the update button because I almost just did.
Ooh.
I usually, if I spend about more than maybe 45 seconds on the form, there's the probability of me updating the record goes way up.
Way up. Insert and stay, or just insert is fine.
Yeah. There we go. So
but yeah, my way around that is when I'm doing an insert and stay is I change the name and insert and stay right then. And then finish because, otherwise, like you said, my hand goes and hits, save because I get nervous.
So are we not using draft URL?
For
we can
blogs?
Get rid of that one.
Well, so we're about to turn on automation to create those.
Is that where we're putting the slug? I think we have separate.
Oh, where is that?
Slug
where
field.
Are we putting the slug? But anyway, if you can move view to the end, that's where I want view.
I'm going to get rid of draft URL.
Okay.
Maybe we can add slug.
Slug in.
All right. Now I'm going to update.
And you can drop type.
Oh, that's right. We are already in only blog posts. So that's a good rule of thumb. Anytime something in one of the columns in your list is always going to be the same, you probably don't need it in your list.
Blog posts.
Oh, I have to refresh.
So title, state, abstract. Where's description?
I removed it
Oh,
because our
okay.
list is already so long.
All right. The list is kind of long.
There's a lot of columns.
How do we make that better then? Because actually, for blog posts, we only need one of them. It's YouTube videos that I need description.
Yeah, and one of the nice things about Workspace is it is a little easier to click into things because I can just click on it. It comes up with a
Right.
tab and I can come back here. I don't need as much on the list, I feel like.
That's a really good point. So without scrolling, is this what I want when I'm
Hmm.
here? Is the question I like to ask. So I like to have a few extra columns for when I need them, but I want to know, do I have everything I need without the scrolling? Like, is this my priority list of things that I'm seeing? So um, the I don't need to see the published URL because I've got the
Yeah.
published state. When I'm checking to make sure that all of the published ones have published URLs and all the ones with published URLs have the published state, I want to see those two things at the same time. But I can slide over for that use
Yeah.
case. The default use case is I need to see the plan published date and the state for sure. The title that yeah, I like this. This seems to be the ones that we actually care about. And again,
All
this is
right.
iterative. So as we're using this, we'll go, oh, I want to adjust this one.
All right. So we probably now want to, I think we may want to look at the form. Oh, there we go. Now the message shows up.
Oh, it only showed
So
up when we opened it from one of the specific type of ones.
I think so. So I think we need a view. Is it just called Workspace?
The view, yeah, I believe the view is
Yeah.
just called Workspace.
So we'll want to create a view for Workspace, and it may be the same as our. Do we have different views for
We
different types of
we
artifacts?
do have different views for different types of artifacts.
How do we handle that in Workspace? Can we have different views in Workspace, or can we only have the Workspace view?
Ooh, that's a let's go to the docs question or something because I
Yeah,
don't I don't know the answer there.
I bet
Um,
somebody in chat
we
knows.
could I suspect if you go to the workspace configuration and take a look at the list, there might be a which things open. Is there something like it chooses which workspace?
What if we, what are our, oh, not a lot of attributes available.
So it lets you pick which workspace, but not which view. Is there anything else here? So if we go to, yeah, let's check the docs on that.
Set up a list view. Create list categories, filter lists. How about something with a form? A record view. Workspace record. Adding components, view components. This is a nice little graphic here.
That is a nice graphic.
So basically what we want to do is do something with this form pane. What happens if I click on that? Setting up forms in Workspace.
So Tommy says if we click the avatar in the workspace, then I have some options for configuration of the page. Interesting.
Well, let's try that.
Wonder if that helps me pick a
I think that was the wrong one.
yeah, the avatar in the configure workspace. Is that what they meant?
So that's here.
I think that takes us to that.
Hold on, it showed us on this article. Configure workspace.
Configure
Agent
page.
workspace, new record menu. Oh, so we need a new record. That's not going to let us do it. So let's go to the list. Let's hit new.
Down one dot. Or how about one more dot? Nope. Okay.
Settings. Oh, there we got some more stuff. So if I do configure, nope, still no. I have been to that menu at one point.
Top right corner in the new workspace. I mean, that's go to home and then try the dots. The dots one. No. Okay. That was my try.
Let's read this more carefully. So
click on your avatar. Form layout.
Do we need procedure? Yeah, I don't. Agent workspace, new record menu.
Maybe it's because we don't have a form view.
Oh, that's a great point. What if we create a form view for Workspace first? Let's do that.
Because maybe it needs to have a record to operate off of first so that it can then configure that record. Ooh, I've never seen this window before.
The view default has not been configured, and the default view has been loaded. I don't think I want to do that. We're not going to configure that view anyway. I think I've done this before.
Your computer suggests that you might have created a view for a workspace at one point.
All right. And so this is a lot of what we have in there. I think this is is this a default artifact view?
That looks like the artifact view that you were already in.
I'm going to take some of these things out. Well,
leave
this is for all Workspace. So let's leave it all.
Then we'll tweak.
All right. So we now have a Workspace view. Hopefully
reload the whole workspace. Yeah.
All right. Our message went away and hey, there we go.
Configure page. Look at that.
All right. If we had a drink, I would take a drink here.
Nice.
So form layout seems like whoa. I think this is going to take us back to
regular.
Well, that's kind of nice.
Layout. All right. Well, that's fine. I'm okay with it jumping me there.
What else we have? Form header, UI actions, the ribbon, side panel. So this
Yes.
is basically all of the elements on our workspace page.
Hmm.
We can configure from here, but it doesn't really help us with how do we get different form views
Per.
for different types of records, or it's the same.
Yeah. So
I
I'm thinking that we need to go check out um, something on the records themselves to see which form view it's going to open up.
my yeah my
But I'm worried that since um, they're all the same record type, that it's going to get angry at us if we don't use a workspace form view.
Yeah, my thought is that the workspace is just hard coded into workspace, and it's going to look for the workspace view, and if it finds it, that's what it shows. If not, it shows the default view.
And
Because if we had, this would be a lot easier if we had extended like an artifact table into a blog post, live stream, video.
right, because then each of those could have a different um,
Yeah, they
workspace
could all
view
have
for
their
that
own.
table, but
Yeah.
these aren't separate tables. Um,
I don't really want to do a lot of field showing and hiding, nor do I know how easy it is on Workspace to do that.
yeah, so we just make it so that it works for all of them, which is basically the default one, I guess. So
I
we
wonder.
go ahead.
I wonder if what we want to do is do a generic form view, and then maybe build us a component that shows other stuff that's specific to that type of record that we show
Yeah,
in the
that
sidebar
won't
here.
that won't really help us because we don't have a good spot to put it.
I mean, we could put it in the sidebar here.
But it's a pretty limited space.
Yeah.
But absolutely, we could look at doing that. I mean, it's
Yeah.
definitely
I
worth
mean,
trying.
we
That
can't do that on this show,
no,
but we can do that at
we
some
do.
point.
Less than 12 minutes. We're not creating a component and getting it into the sidebar in 12 minutes because Tommy says check menu workspace view rules for multiple views. Maybe
Hey,
Tommy gets a gold star
this
today.
looks promising. I think Tommy has worked with Workspace before.
Yeah. And we're working with it because we haven't worked with it very much. Like I I played around with it before, but never actually like needed to
All
deploy
right.
it.
So we're gonna get let's first see if I put artifact, let's see if we have access to select other views here. Oh, we
Oh
do.
yes.
Let's do that.
Nice. And then
So
the
let's make
conditions
a
are the class. So easy
yeah.
peasy.
Thanks, Tommy. So let's create a blog view. And I think we can do that like this.
New blog view.
Blog. And then for our blog, I think these are all
Pull out ranked,
use.
reviewed. Ooh, yeah. We're pulling them out for now.
Yeah.
Um,
Do we use parent?
I do use parent, but it's
We
not super important.
don't need duration. Do we need audience?
No.
How many? We have 3 and 5. I'm gonna put categories over here.
Oh,
All right.
you're gonna mess me up. It's fine though.
They can't be they can't be off. I can't handle that. It has to be
I
even.
I agree.
Title.
I just The categories is one I actually like use all the time.
So we
You might
don't
see it
need,
changed later.
that's fine. So title, abstract,
Description,
description,
content.
we don't
So
use
yeah,
content for blogs,
well,
right?
it mm, that's part of the automation that we might add in, but no,
Hmm,
for now, no.
I got it. We do want, do we want published URL?
We've got slug.
If I click
I
into a post, do I want to be able to,
open the
yeah, I think
record.
we put it
Yeah,
on the list view.
yeah, I think so.
So I think that's good for now. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm not sure about the location of some of those because the end split is going to be
It's all
long, and
straight up.
like slug doesn't need to be in a long, and
Um,
publish URL probably it needs to be like, yeah, something like that.
let's leave it like this for now, and then we can argue about where it goes later.
Yeah, it's at least balanced.
Yeah. So that is not the view we
That
just
is
created.
that is not the view we just created.
Hopefully it's saved. All right. So
Uh,
now
we can select. Oh, you probably didn't need to reload that. It's a reference
you
field.
may be right.
It should have been fine.
Blog. All right. So blog.
I mean, blog workspace view. This is a workspace view rule record. It probably could just say
Now,
blog.
do you think it shows up in view rules? That's my only. All right. Let's just say blog workspace. We'll compromise.
We'll compromise. His blog post. All right. Then what are the other choices we get there in form settings and form tabs? I'm interested in those.
Form settings. Oh, nice.
Oh,
Hide details and UI actions. Don't want that.
don't need that. And sure. All right.
That's our only option.
I like the default tab focus.
Yeah, that is nice.
That's nice.
All right.
Those are clearly sections that are going to have more choices at some point.
Yes. All right.
Someone designed those to have some stuff in there, and we just haven't deployed that stuff yet.
So let's open a blog post
and see if we get the blog view.
Oh, I think this looks right.
That looks right.
Published.
Yeah, that looks right because categories on the left, this is the only place that's true.
So let's look at a not blog post and see. There we go. Look at that. And now your categories are on the right.
That's pretty great.
How nice. We can just, I'm going to move this all over the form for every other artifact. And we'll see how long it takes you to go crazy. All right. I think that's workspace view rules. Yeah. Who knew? Tommy did.
Tommy's the MVP today.
Well, I'm going to stop sharing here.
Let us, our broadcast thing wanted to do some updates. No, you cannot update right now. few more minutes, VM, and then you can do your updates. Not at the moment. So that was great. So what we did today, in summary, is we created a new application, a new scoped app. That the only point of the scoped app was to use Guided App Creator to create our workspace. We configured that workspace to point to our artifact manager table, which is our custom scoped application table. Within that, we have um, architecturally designed it such that it's a flat table, but there are types that are different. We could have used table extensions. If it was designed that way originally, all of those could have been extensions, but that also caused some. So that was a design decision, because sometimes a thing starts out as a blog post and turns into a video, and that sort of thing is painful if you're using separate tables, separate classes, because you'd have to de-escalate it down a class and then up escalate it to a different class, and that kind of overhead was not desired. Um, but thankfully, the workspace view rules that we found allow us to have different views for those different types, um, which was great. And what we saw in there was that it also is available for conditioning filter per workspace and roles. So those seem to be really granular, and flexible in when and what form view gets opened when you interact with a record in a workspace. Um,
Yeah.
so what else did we do? We created a new list entry in our workspace after Guided App Creator was done. We configured the fields in both of our lists, the one that was auto generated and the one that we created. And then we configured some form views, which is pretty traditional stuff to do when you're setting up a new interface, is configuring those form views. Did I miss anything there, Brad?
I don't think so. I think you covered it. So
Go ahead.
one of the, now we have this workspace. I'm sure we will work on it off air and kind of get it to where we want it, prettify it. And then on future shows, I'm sure we'll be doing some component building. So if anybody has any ideas on, components, obviously you guys don't know a ton about how we use Artifact Manager, but if you want to leave a comment or send us a note on what type of components might be good to add to it, we would love to hear some ideas.
Yeah, that's a great point. So certainly share if you have some experiences, configuring workspaces and making them awesome. Let us know, because then we can, one, leverage it for ourselves and share it out to others as well. Um, excuse me. So that was fun, and we'll definitely get at least our lists and forms configured mostly. And as we come across places where we need to do more than that level of configuration, we'll try and roll those into a show. And if we certainly, when we get to a component building, or things like declarative actions that we might need to add to our workspace, we'll get those in the show or write a blog post about it. So
Yeah.
that was awesome. Thanks so much for all of the help in the chat today. Chuck and Tommy were helping us out. We really appreciate it. And to everyone else who stopped by and said hello, I hope you guys have a wonderful Thursday. And we will see you back again next week with another show. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.